And Jenny, let's go take some calls, and I want you to break this budget down. Let's go to Alex in Atlanta, Georgia. Alex, you keeping it real with Austin and Sharpton.
Hey, how you doing, Reverend?
I'm good.
All right, to your guest, hello. Sir, I just wanted to call and basically yesterday afternoon you all were having a great conversation in regards to the, I think a caller had called and had made some kind of statement about, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but people got to talking about how we are not treated fairly when it comes, with the different situations as far as the white and black. Are you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, affirmative action we were talking about, yeah.
Yes, sir. And I had a personal experience. I wanted to call. When I heard it, I wanted to call so bad and talk, but I wasn't able to get in. I had got in after 3. But I had a personal experience where, I went to school back in 2011, graduated in the HVAC field. And when I got out there in the industry, of course, it's kind of, I think it's safe to say that it's ruled more by Caucasians. And I can say that I definitely experienced not only all of the things that your caller was saying yesterday, but another thing is they don't, I'm not going to say they, I'm going to say the people that I experienced, they don't want to see you learn, or they don't want to help you. I learned it was all about the money. It's like having somebody new that, I must admit I've never been good with my hands, so it definitely was a challenge for me doing this. And the fact that I was kind of, what they call, I forget the term, where you don't really know nothing about the industry, I could tell that he used to make little statements saying that, he didn't want a new guy. I told him I didn't want a new guy. The point of, he didn't want to try to help me learn. I was trying to chase a dream. And he kind of killed that because eventually I left the industry and everything. But even, when I used to go there and just the atmosphere around the place, they would go out of their way not to even speak to you, drop your head and things like that. And it was like, I felt like I was interfering with the money that they were trying to make because it's all about money, especially during the summertime in the HVAC industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well... I thank you for your call. And I think, Jenny, we were talking yesterday about affirmative action. A white male called in and said that he felt it was unfair that he was being denied placement and jobs, and he was more qualified than those that placed and that was given the job. And we had a back and forth for a while, and then a lot of callers responded. And one of the things that I think people don't understand on the right, and I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here, is that affirmative action is a conservative plan that came out during the Nixon administration. I mean, I'm for reparations, but affirmative action addresses the historic lack of opportunity and lack of fairness. And government has to really undo what government did.
Absolutely. And I think what people also don't understand and appreciate is that affirmative action is also in response to what has been and continues to be an existing practice of legacy. I had a conversation, a debate once with a third-generation Irish firefighter who was complaining that he lived in another state. He lived in California, and that in the county that he lived in, the persons of color would receive a base level of points on the fire entrance exam that was above what Caucasians would receive, and he thought that was unfair because they were being given an edge. And when he explained that he was a third-generation firefighter, I took the opportunity to help him to appreciate that he himself had benefited from essentially a form of affirmative action, and that he was in a household with 2 earlier generations of people who had knowledge and experience in fighting fires. And so that he grew up in a community and in a culture where he learned some things so that coming into the exam, he was well prepared in a way that people who were first generation coming to the test had no real knowledge and experience. And so I think what sometimes people forget when you look at that, when you look at legacy in schools of education, be they higher ed institutions or basically independent private schools for grade school around this country, Caucasian people for many years have had opportunities that people of color have had to, work to do 2 and 3 times as well to overcome those opportunities that others had to even get to the same place to level the playing field. And so if we want to dismantle, if they want to dismantle affirmative action, they also need to dismantle legacy and cultural competence that comes from intergenerational wealth and access.
And they need to also deal with the fact that if he was a third-generation person, that the generation ahead of him and the generation 2 slots ahead of him got to be firefighters when blacks were excluded from being firefighters.
Right.
And they went to better schools and had better housing opportunities. You have to take all of those factors in that gave you an advantage, and you don't want any kind of equalizer put in. That's pretty insensitive, if not arrogant. Let's go to Lee in Oklahoma City. Lee, you're keeping it real with Austin and Sharpton.
Hey, Mr. Sharpton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello, your guest Jennifer also. I'm sorry I didn't catch your last name.
Austin.
So, I had 3 things that I wanted to bring up. The first one was last night when I listened to Ben Carson talk about, his plan for how he wants to improve things. I heard him say when he was asked about how it would help people who are disabled, I heard him say, well, we'll always take care of them. We'll take care of them. But he never gave any real explanation or plan of what he wanted to do. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing I noticed is he was asked about homelessness.